the channel. This is Blake again, coming at y'all for another video. And I know most of you guys have been waiting to hear about the update on the Mach 1. So I kind of want to tell y'all about like kind of how everything kind of unraveled, so to speak. So I guess probably 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, one of my videos, me and Brian were going to go out to a dyno session, and my check engine light came on for a misfire. And you know, the car ran super strong, it didn't cut out or nothing that night and stuff, and I just assumed probably the usual. I thought maybe, okay, maybe a spark plug was just fouled out or something, or probably a weird thing with the coil pack, or maybe it was something with an injector. So I changed all that, reset the code, drove it for a while, code came back on. I'm like, okay, but the car never gave any symptoms of a misfire. So I thought that was kind of odd, but it always ran really good, really strong. So I'm like, okay. So I just went ahead and cleared it, and I took it to a dyno to get it on to see what kind of numbers it was making, because I've always wanted to know if it does in fact make the 370 that was claimed by the previous owner, since I had no paperwork on the engine build or anything really. So I took it to the dyno, and I have clips of all of this, and you can see that in one of the runs it just puffs blue smoke right at the end of the run. It actually has been blowing blue smoke apparently for a while, because before I even took the car to the dyno, way a long time ago, months before, when I raced my friend Vaughn and his 3-valve, I was passing him. He saw blue smoke come out of the car. Now I never even touched the car at the time. I never took off anything, never touched it. So I thought that was interesting that he told me that and everything. And so apparently if it burns oil at high RPM, that is a sign of piston rings. So I did a compression test on it, and it came up at 45 pounds. Video's on. Like, oh my gosh, this cylinder's not even working, dude. So for like almost a whole year, I've been on 7 cylinders, and I never would have even have known, because the car never gave any symptoms really. So I mean, that just blows my mind. And it didn't throw a code until, you know, here recently, which is even more crazy. So I took the spark plug out, and I got pictures of that too. You can see how incredibly black it is. Compared to my other ones. And I've always ran 5W20 conventional oil that was recommended by the person I bought the car from. So I immediately swapped that out, because I ran the car for about 15,000 miles, and I've gotten on it, you know, a handful of times. And I never liked that oil anyway. And conventional 520, super thin, no. So I went ahead and swapped it out for 5W30 Mobile 1 full synthetic. And while I was changing my oil, I was overlooking everything. I was checking out the PCV system, and I noticed that the PCV elbow was completely collapsed when the car was off. So when I'm when I gave the car the beans quite a handful of times, the PCV system was choked off basically. So that's a huge no-no. That is real bad. When I took it to a shop and they did a boroscope on it on cylinder 5, the piston was covered in oil, straight covered, just insane amounts of blow-by. That too. So I mean, that's like a combination of the PCV being not functioning correctly and a possibility of rings or something in the head. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on with the car, honestly, and that helped out a lot. I drove it for a while, and the car actually stopped using oil, which was pretty crazy. And I did that, swapped the plug out again. And I ran a bottle of seafoam through the intake and 2 bottles through the gas tank to try and clear out any gunk or debris. And I'm glad I did, because when my friend helped me, he was checking out the tailpipes. When I was blowing it out, he could see little bits and pieces of like chunks of carbon just shoot out. I'm like, holy crap, that's crazy, just puffs of black smoke. So I definitely think that really helped. Went and did another compression test, and it was actually even worse than before. So then I took it to a shop to kind of see what they thought. They did a compression test, and that actually jumped up to 60 pounds. So I've got a weird mix and match of like inconsistency on compression. So I thought maybe that it was something in the head. I thought maybe it could be a bad valve, because if you've got a valve that's not opening or closing all the way, you can lose, compression that way. A bad valve seal, bad lash adjuster, something. I assume there's just something in the head. And on cold starts, you could hear something like rattle for like 2 seconds whenever I would start the car. Definitely sounded like it was in the head. And lo and behold, basically when he took it apart, I was right. One of my intake valves was turn left onto West Euclid Avenue. Was serrated by a rock. There was a rock in my cylinder head this whole time. How it got in there, I don't know. So I actually got off work early today, so I'm heading over to the shop where the Mach 1 is all dissected and torn apart. I'm probably going to be real upset looking at it. But he did tell me on the phone that the piston and the cylinder wall was both fine. Now, to me, if piston rings are bad, wouldn't they score up a cylinder wall? Wouldn't they damage the cylinder wall? I'm not a mechanic by any means. I'm just sitting here trying to think of some ideas and theories of, if rings are bad, what could they do to the block, basically. But he said that the wall was fine, so that means there was no piston slap. The rings weren't scoring up the wall. Like I said, no bottom end noises. So, that was a huge blessing. And he said that the piston didn't take any damage from the rock either, which is a huge blessing. He said all the pistons on the driver's side look fine. Cylinder 7 and 8, which is what I was worried about too, from getting on the car a little bit. He said they were fine. No spots of like, we call it detonation or anything like that. So, everything seemed okay. He said the rest of the valves and all in the head looked fine. So he dropped the head off at a machine shop. They're gonna test it, make sure that the cylinder head didn't suffer any damage. Really hoping it didn't. I'm hoping it was literally just the valve. And maybe I just pop one in and slap it back together and should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking, guys. I pretty much gave you all the 411 of what's going on with the car and what has happened to it. And I guess you'll see her the first time when I do. So see you in a minute. You got stains everywhere over here. This guy's got a Azure Blue Mach 1 over here right next to my girl. I wish I would have known it was sitting outside though. I would have got a freaking sun visor to protect my dash. Actually, I might come out here again. This is a 2-hour drive for me, but I might come out here just to put the sun visor in here. Yo, I care about my dash, but that's okay. So yeah, there she is. She's sitting pretty high though. Looking like a monster truck. Pretty insane. Yo, there's nothing in her. All this looks freaking brand spanking new. Everything looked cleaned up, whatnot. So, yeah, no heart, but she'll get it soon, and we'll be able to hear her chop it again pretty soon. So, freaking cool Mach 1 Azure Blues here. This thing is going to be nasty. It's got like a 5.0 block. They're going to put in it on-through turbo kit, 4 return style fuel system, and a whole bunch of other goodies. Stupid fast. And then my car's sitting over there. But it's pretty cool they got another Mach 1 here. Alright guys, so I just made it over here. I was talking to Nick for a while. He's got my motor and trans all together right here on this pallet. So all this looks, the timing setup looks incredibly new. It looks great. Probably going to get some different tensioners because the tensioners on here, they are new, but they're not very good ones from Ford. Probably going to upgrade those maybe. Cylinder 5 actually looks pretty dang clean compared to the rest of them. They all look good, but like this is not near as bad as I thought it was going to be. And he did, you know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the piston. And he turned the crank over, and there was no scoring or anything on the cylinder wall. And you know, the rest of these look fine too. No overheating or anything like that on here. So looking pretty good. And I told him that, you know, the motor was like $7,500 or whatever. And he goes, with the stage 2 cams on here, I got the ARP, you know, cam bolts and stuff on here. I didn't even know. So he's like, yeah, it's definitely got rods and pistons in it for sure. So you know, that's really cool. Still might have them pull the oil pan off just to see what rods are in it, but you know, only time will tell. I do got an MGW shifter, I assume that, but you know, the shift ball, I always had trouble with taking it off. I thought they put Loctite or something on it. The thing was so tight, but he was able to get all that off for me. It was kind of a struggle for him too. So yeah, we got all that off. Yeah, everything's looking out pretty good on the bottom end here, guys. So I'm really looking forward to getting the car back. And he also saved the rock that freaking damaged my freaking head. This rock is actually a decent size. Probably not on camera, probably can't tell, but dude, that's a little thick boy right there. That's wild, man. But Nick's other like co-worker, Nick, they're both called Nick. He's like, dude, I love that car. I was like, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I wish it was running right. But, you know, they think that, you know, if it was running 100%, they think it's got 370 in it all day. He's like, with those cams, yeah. So that's very encouraging to hear. So looking forward to finding out if the head's okay or not. And if it is, slapping a valve in her, getting her put back together. And I might do a head cooling mod on this car. I might as well, since the motor's out. And yeah, we'll slap it back together. I'll probably get some fuel injectors and a fuel pump, and probably get this thing retuned and get the air fuel ironed out. So looking forward to it. So I appreciate y'all watching the update video on the Mach 1.